Yeah, hello everyone, and welcome to the Hardcore Metal Touching Radio Show. I'm Derek Asklar, and Craig Talley's on the line here. We'll be hosting the show tonight. Probably gonna just have open lines, just different topics that come up or hunts we've been on. And by golly, if you've been out on a hunt and want to talk about it or have questions or comments, you can call in at 352-504-4170 and talk to us live, or you can get on chat right there off the Hardcore station there on Spreaker, and just hit the comment and log in, and you can get on chat also. Kind of just a busy week for me. I got a story to tell, but Craig, I didn't get the full story yet, but I didn't know if you wanted to talk about your adventure yesterday, and because you haven't been able to get out hunting much either lately, so it's nice to see you're able to get out.
Yeah, we've had pretty much
Rain.
continuous rain for about 3 weeks, every day. And we had a couple days where it was just, hard downpour the whole day. But anyway, the last 2 days was just beautiful. And today was, yesterday was, I think the high was like about 72.
Right.
But just bright, blue sky, real sunny the
Beautiful
whole day. And so I got out about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I went over where I found the breastplate skin, and we'd done a lot of yard work over there, chopped a bunch of stuff down and shaped a bunch of bushes and stuff over there. So kind of a lot of it's cleared out more than it was, a few months ago. But anyway, I had the 15-inch coil on, and I was using less discrimination on the depth, iron to, depth thing. So I got this signal, and it sounded really good in one direction, but not as good in the other direction.
Right.
And but it was, I could tell it was something deep. But it turned out it was about 8 inches deep, but it was on edge, and it was it's a wreath for a two-piece sash buckle. It probably went under a sword belt plate.
Oh, okay.
And so I don't know what the tongue looked like.
Right.
But I was at first I wasn't sure how old it was, but it's thin, but it's solid. It's it's real ornate. It's got like sunflowers or some kind of flowers in it, almost like in a wreath around the wreath on the edge. And it had rectangular bars on that, and it went on the tongue. So when they fit together to the plate, it would hold it together. But this particular one doesn't have. It looks like it broke off.
Could that be earlier than Civil War, you think, Craig? I was just thinking about it because you did say there was some.
Of them, yeah, some of them were 1839. I saw.
Oh, okay.
A lot of them from the 1839, 1840. So a lot of times what happened during the Civil War was a lot of these guys just
grabbed with.
It could have been that a lot of times they even had stuff that their brothers had used in the Mexican War.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. War 1812.
1840.
Or 14.
Well, this is 1846.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was thinking about the wrong one.
Yeah, Lee and a whole bunch of people were down there in Mexico fighting Santa Anna, I guess. But anyway, I noticed some of the guys that entered the Civil War had the older brothers had given them, or their uncles had given them this 46 caliber rifles, and they weren't very good compared to what was coming on now. When they got there. So first battles, they would go out and throw away the other rifle and get like an Enfield or a Springfield or something with that had bigger caliber and more firepower. But anyway, this particular belt, I don't know which one it was, but there's all kinds of different wreaths. They pretty much look the same, but they have different patterns on them. And there's leaves, there's stars, there's all kinds of weird stuff. So, this one guy that's pretty knowledgeable told me it was from the saber belt, from the sword belt plate.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if it had, some of them had an eagle, some had CS. I've seen Virginia ones.
Yeah.
All kinds of different States, artillery with the eagle with an A in the middle.
Right.
And that, I was looking through some of my older books that show a lot of this stuff, and I was just telling Derek that the pictures are terrible compared to what we got nowadays.
Yeah, we
mean,
complain nowadays about the photos, but back then,
any detail.
Yeah.
Oh man, the cameras just weren't that great back then compared to what they are now.
Mm-hmm.
And the lighting, you can tell it's the lighting. A lot of it. I'm looking at some of them now, and they're dark. They didn't get a good shot of it. But
Yeah.
but anyway, I was out there. Well, anyway, I started digging. I got a couple really hard iron signals, and I've been wanting to find some more pieces. I know there's got to be more pieces of shell or other shells in the yard.
Right.
Because we found a piece of a Schinkel shell, good sized piece, and another one that was from a Borman cannonball. So we know there's got to be more. And the guy right across the alley from us found a Britain shell from Great Britain.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of an oddball one. And it was definitely used by the Confederates, that one.
Right.
But anyway, I dug up, I got this signal, and I thought it was, I had this acorn in my hand, I thought. And it turned out to be this, not an acorn, but a black walnut. And I got all these black walnuts, but they're all over the ground. And I put the pinpointer down, and it went off on what I thought was this walnut, but it turned out it was an iron bell. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they're called croto bells or not, but it's the same shape pretty much.
I would think.
But
I don't know. It's maybe not called a croto bell. It's like a croto bell, though, or whatever. The
Yeah,
round.
it's a little bit smaller than, a little smaller than a softball.
Right.
But I thought that was pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
'Cause I was wondering what the heck is this thing, and then I turned it upside down. I saw the 4 holes or 4 slits in it. So
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool. And I went out today and dug another pit, and I finally got a good signal. I dug so many nails out of this one hole. I was just, using the pinpointer. Most of the time wasn't even swinging the detector. I was just,
Right. Running a pinpointer
digging
around.
a hole and checking it with the pinpointer. And so anyway, I got this one. Finally, I went back over, and I had this hole down about a foot and a half, 2 feet deep, probably about 3 feet wide on each side.
Mm-hmm.
And so I get this signal in the middle, and it's coming back in both directions. And it's, and I'm picking it up from 2 feet down. So I'm going, what the heck is this? This sounds good,
Mm-hmm.
I dig down. It's a giant folded up piece of tinfoil.
Ah, man. Tinfoil is the
Some kind.
worst, man. I tell you, it
Some
can
kind.
fool. Oh, God.
But the weird thing is, I dug the wreath about maybe 6 or 8 inches deep.
Right.
And then I get, 3 feet away, 5 feet away, I get, tinfoil down,
Yeah,
it
it doesn't. There's no
feet at
sense
least.
to it sometimes. It's like digging Civil War bullets, and all of a sudden you get a wheat penny at the same depth. It's like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah.
But you just
I saw a guy digging an old park down in this really rough area in Virginia. Yeah, I won't give the name of the city or anything.
yeah,
but,
yeah.
it was a little tiny park, and it went back to, I believe, 1910 or 1911 was when it started. But to me, it looked older than that. But it wasn't real big. But he ended up getting 2 large cents and a 1830 dime, and he got this bullet. And I knew it was an infield right away, but he didn't know what it was.
Right.
He's going, anybody know what this is? And it's Confederate infield. But I was like, God, he was doing good. He had a safari, and he was Mine Lab Safari and stock coil, and he was. It was crazy. The dime was only maybe 4 inches deep.
That's not that deep at all. Shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just funny how it's like you just get your coil over it, and it'll be something will be 1 or 2 inches down, and then something newer is underneath it. I mean, of course they put gardens in and stuff too. That may be the explanation, Craig. I don't know what part of your yard that
Yeah,
was in. It could have been a garden or something, and he could have tilled it or.
this was also kind of like supposedly part of an alley at one time too, but the dirt is black all the way down 2 feet deep.
Huh.
In the rest of the yard, you get clay after maybe a foot or so,
Yes, they must have dug that out pretty good.
Yeah, so and it's almost like there's flowers all in the other. It's right up against my neighbor's fence almost.
Mm-hmm.
But then, where I was digging, about 10 feet away.
Right.
But he was telling me that was a store. Well, his place used to be a store, and then he said that on one of the maps there used to be like a warehouse in my yard, probably.
Right.
So I don't know. It's that alley may not have been there in the old days, and there might have been a road that went through instead of diagonal instead.
Yeah.
But there's no telling. But the yard is all lumpy. It's kind of like there's little low areas and little high areas. Like it's hard to tell what was actually there. It might have been like a structure or something. But,
Right. Yeah.
But I know there's a lot of nails. I mean, there's tons of nails in the ground everywhere in the whole yard.
Yeah, it probably just all fell out of the boards and stuff on that warehouse. Probably just rotted to the ground probably before they put the other house on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a mess when you get in. It's almost like a cellar hole then. You just can't, it's real difficult to get in between that stuff. But, yeah, I mean, at least you're finding some stuff there, though. That's a good thing.
There's some places I could just take the pinpointer and sweep it along the ground and pick up signals.
Yeah.
I got a weird one. I saw half of a rusty bottle cap, but it was so rusted the pinpointer wouldn't pick it up.
Oh, yeah. Even pulse induction even. Yeah, I've had that happen on a beach when they're really, really toasted. The pinpointer won't even get them barely. It just like make a little bit of sound.
This thing like crumbled into dust,
Yeah.
It's like, God. And you think that's all in the ground, because I dug probably right before I got the sash buck, I must have dug like 15 steel bottle caps, and I knew they were. I just kept digging them, said, I'm going to get them out of the way, and I might, plan on doing that anyway. But then all of a sudden I get this signal, and I go, that doesn't sound like bottle cap.
Right. Yeah, definite difference.
Yeah.
Like that rotted, I call it rotted metal or whatever. It just like breaks apart in your hands. That was that mystery signal that I was getting with the V3, and the pinpointer wouldn't pinpoint it. The only thing that would get it is the bliss tool, and it's like I finally figured out what it was after 3 or 4 times of hitting that same sounding weird signal, and it's like it's rotted metal is what it is. It's just ready to just break apart. But it's kind of neat that I was able to get it with that, but the pulse induction pinpointer couldn't get it. So this kind of makes you wonder. You get a bunch of that stuff above a good target, or one that's still intact, or whether it would just block the whole signal. It'd be like trying to get a quarter through a tin can. You're not going to do it. So maybe you breaking up that, for lack of a better term, that halo. Maybe you'll find some more stuff in there, or around it anyway.
Yeah, I was just pulling out the dirt a lot of times and just spreading it.
Mm-hmm.
And this area didn't have any grass at all, so it was all weeds and stuff. And,
yeah.
There's stuff, still stuff coming up now because it's spring. Well, getting almost into summer now.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I just spread the dirt out and went over it with a detector, and I got a couple of things that were non-ferrous, but most of it I could hear just clips everywhere, and I just go down with a pinpointer and pull all the nails and iron and stuff out. You never know what you're going to find. It's like I found I found the door handle.
Excuse me.
Doing that, and I took it was the part where the ball part was broken off, but the rest of it was in there.
Mm-hmm.
It was like square, and then there's a round piece. but it was just iron. The whole thing was iron. It was down probably a foot and a half deep. I was getting a signal on it at 7 on the discriminator, depth discriminator. But
Right.
when I turned it down to 9, I didn't even get a click on it. But that's the kind of stuff I was digging up.
Yeah.
I got a pocket knife too out of the one hole, and a spike. So I don't know what's going on in that area. It's just all kinds of weird stuff.
Yeah, at least it's, the pocket knife and stuff like that. I mean, it's, it's a relic and everything, and neat to find. Even though not really worth nothing.
Yeah.
But they're fun to find. I have a couple
Yeah,
myself. I found that one over in Horsham, that colonial pocket knife or whatever, that kind of, it was, brass, and, I mean, it was obviously real, falling apart almost, but the edges, the handle part of it was still good. The insides were gutted. But, yeah, it's just, you could tell that the whatever you want to call them, the relic ones or the antique ones, from a long time ago, just by the way they're made or whatever, what the weight is on them and stuff like that. I find a lot of modern ones too, but they're, even ones from the 70s, the old timer pocket knives and stuff. I'll find those a lot of times, but they're, I guess they're 40 or 50 years old. So I mean, they're still, it's starting to get your mind wrapped around that, finding stuff. We talk about the 1920s and stuff, but we're talking 100 years just about now. So, really.
A piece of brass, it had a piece of brass on it, so it went off a little bit on that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and today I didn't find anything worth keeping except the first signal. Well, I got a signal and I scraped back a bunch of dirt. And I looked down, there was a marble. Got a marble. But we found probably 20 marbles and holes in the yard.
That's probably from the 20s and 30s, I would think. I mean, I find a lot of those on 1920s sites, a lot of marbles shooters or whatever you call them. I never really played marbles, but, some of the other kids did, but, different colored ones. And I think they're kind of neat myself. You start finding the clay ones and stuff, and, there's a whole different realm of collecting right there.
In the front yard. And I look down the bottom of the hole, and I see this round ball. I'm like, oh, man, nice 69 caliber round ball. And I stick the pinpoint on it, and nothing. I go, what? I go, oh, it's clay marble.
Well, I mean, this stuff is nostalgic, if anything else. I mean, harmonica reeds and stuff like that. I mean, I find, just all this weird old pocket watch covers and everything. To me, it's all nostalgic. It's not worth anything else.
The weirdest thing when I first started hunting in the yard, I think one of the first things I found was a complete harmonica, even the innards. I've never found that before. I found 2 of them.
Yep.
And even had the outside part on it. And you never find the outside part. You just find the reeds usually.
I found a compass, that 1920s compass. It's all brass, but the face is still on it. But the glass is obviously broke and the needles are gone, but the insides are still there. Whatever's in there, you know what I mean? But I found that at the same place I found that Colored Hero, maybe a foot away from where the Colored Heroes medal was. Probably, I don't know, 3 inches down in the, that parking lot, dirt parking lot that had been there since ever, for the most part from the 1800s. So you find a lot of pocket watch, because pocket watches back then, I mean, everybody had one, and they weren't that, the cheap ones, obviously, people just, like cell phones are today, whatever you can afford, and pretty much get it, and, they had it. But, you find a lot of them with real ornate covers and stuff like those are the ones I like, the ones with a lot of detail on them, even though they're toasted. But I don't know, I keep them anyways. I think they're, it's kind of neat for a collection. You find a lot of odd stuff, man, buckles and just everything was just real ornate in from until the 1930s, and then after World War II. I mean, we still had some stuff, but I mean, it seems like that time frame, like 1910 to 1935 or so, like the makeup containers, the lipstick tubes, everything was just really, at least the ones I've been finding are really detailed, etched and stuff like that. A lot of them made out of copper or brass or whatever. You don't, of course, by World War II, they were, not making them out of that because they needed it for the war effort and stuff. But, so, kind of can time it a little bit. But yeah, I just like finding that the 1920 stuff. But I figure it's 100 years old. That's a relic now. Okay,
Yeah.
we'll be hunting for those. But I had a I had a great day the other day, a busy day, but I think it was I want to say it was Monday or no, it had to have been Tuesday. I was out here working in the yard and stuff, and the landowners. I'm going to call him a landlord anyways, like a maintenance guy, whatever, that watches over all the properties out here that the guy has. And he was doing some work for my neighbor, and I got to talking to him, and he says, well, I asked him about metal detecting. I think I told you guys this the last show. He gave me permission to hunt this property out behind me and stuff, which I'm really looking forward to. But he stopped over and invited me down to the actual cabin on the river by the old metal bridge that used to be there in Insachata. And I jumped on. I stopped what I was doing. I grabbed my camera, went, and I was following him. And it's literally the road, the gate to that property is not even a quarter mile from my house. And we got on this thing, Craig, and I videoed it. It was like a mile and a half snaking around in there to get back to the actual cabin on the river. At least it seemed like that. It was a pretty long trip back through the, I'm going to call it woods, but it was mostly fields. And the fields were they got like hayseed. It's real short right now. You could hunt, this is like a 450 acre spot. And it's like, man, 3/4 of it you could hunt no problem at all. With a metal detector, it's not real thick grass or hay. So you can kind of just walk right through there and hunt it. And I'm saying that on the video. And we get over to the cabin or cracker house, what I call it. But and he took me inside there, and he said, "Okay, this section is 125 or 130 years old, and this section is 65 years old." And you can see it's not a lot of detail, but you can tell the difference in construction and stuff. And they actually had to lift this thing up off the ground again because it's it's on Sumter County rock. These boulders. Well, not the house itself, but the boulders are all around the house and stuff. The old limestone rock, I call it Sumter County rock, all over the place. But then they have a dock, little porch on there. It's been added onto and stuff. And I go out here to the dock. They have a dock right there, maybe 20, 25 feet away from the back of the shack there. And I get on this dock right there, and I look across the river just a little bit diagonally, and I see the metal pillars. They're sticking up out of the water about maybe 2 or 3 feet, and on the other side of the river right there. And I look over, and there's still, I never even noticed it before. I've been up and down this river a lot, but it must be blocked by some of the cypress trees. It's up maybe 12 foot out of the water, and it actually has an I-beam at the top of it. It's the other support or whatever pillar on my side of the river. So I walk over there. It's about 50 feet from the house, and the bridge, where it come off of the bridge onto the dirt, it's all built up right there. And it's all overgrown now. We're talking, I found out it was torn down in 1961. It was built in 1850, somewhere in there. But yeah, it's I'm like looking around, so this is such a prime location. I can just see, I'm finding, even he said he finds arrowheads everywhere. It's just a conglomeration of stuff, and there's not a house around. The only houses I see is across the river. There's a few houses catty corner to his property, but there's nobody directly, probably from what I can tell, about a half mile from his house along the river there. I don't think there's anything. So it's kind of been untouched. But I went out there. I spent about 2 hours out there, and we sat around talking. He wants to let me hunt that, but found out the landowner bought it 25 years ago, and he's been using it as a kind of like a summer, or wants to use it as like a weekend getaway kind of thing. And it's just a shack, really. It's nice on the inside, but they had to redo the chimney and stuff. I put a picture of the pillar. I'll put some more pictures up too on Hardcore Facebook page. Of the actual house, or actually redoing the roof on it. Had to rebuild the chimney because the chimney was leaning into the house, was going to fall into the house, so they knocked it down and rebuilt it. It's going to be a really just beautiful place to hang out. I told them, if you ever want somebody just to hang out and watch the place, I'll do it. That's how nice it was. So I was like, just cows, and that's about it out there. But excuse me. Craig, remind me to talk about drones because there's a situation going on I want to tell everybody about. I think it's pretty funny, but well, I'll talk about that after it. But it happened out here at the river. But and so I get done, looking at everything, walking video, and and I'm going to be able to go out there on Sundays, I guess, and hunt. Along with hunting anytime I want to over here, behind me. So that works out good. I'm going to go in there and just kind of crisscross the property, try to figure out if there was any activity or where it went, because he didn't even realize there was a stagecoach road that went back there. And, what the property was all about. He couldn't find any information on it. So I'm kind of telling him some of the stuff. But I get home and my wife listens to me rattle on and on about stuff, these different spots around that I want to be able to hunt, but I probably never be able to. This is kind of like a bucket list spot for me. I've wanted to hunt it for at least 5 to 6 years. Never got permission on it before. And the guy lives in St. Pete that owns it. So, it's kind of hard for me just to knock on his door. But, she'd been hearing me talk about this the other day. And, actually for quite a while. But, the other day she tells me, I know that property. I said, what do you mean you know that property? That was my great-great-grandmother's, I'm trying to remember. They were taken care of by like a nanny, Craig. My wife, when she was real little, she was taken care of by a nanny that would help out the family and this and that. That was a house that they had set up for her. And then before her was all the other, the great-great-grandmother and everything else like that. Pauline's going on and just talking. We spent, Craig, I'm not even exaggerating, 2 hours. She was giving me the family tree back. And I was totally listening to every word. She had me so enthralled with all of the, the dynamics and who did what and who came from where. And she kind of, and this was just in 2 hours, sitting there talking. I didn't even realize how long, we'd been talking. And she goes, I thought you knew all this stuff. I said, well, I hear you've told me, of course we've been together for 20, 25 years or whatever. And this is totally new information for me. I just, she never really had gone back that far and everything, talking about, where people came from and everything else. But she actually tracked one of her relatives, to Louisiana, the French that come over, into Baton to New Orleans and everything way back. It was just weird. I told her we have to write this down, or I have to record this, because it was just the way she told the story. Whatever you want to call it, what their family history was, it was just really neat. And I told her, so one of these days we're going to have to record it, because I didn't realize that that property was owned by her family too. It sounded like there's so many dynamics to her family, because you're dealing with multiple marriages and stuff like that from way back, and trying to keep track of them all. It was frying my mind, actually. I kept on telling her to back up. Tell me that again. What happened there? But it was just really neat, because down on the other side is where her great-great-grandfather, Civil War grandfather, before that actually, owned a plantation out south of here, about 3 or 4 miles. So they essentially owned a lot of this area back then, and most of the side of the county. So it was just really neat. I told her, I said, we really need to do that. She goes, well, I've been talking about writing a book on this since she was in high school, because she actually traced all the family members all the way back. Her other grandmother's a Seminole Indian, and how that worked, and the horse trading that went on, and the gambling and the cattle rustling, and just all the stuff you hear out west, is stuff that goes on, was happening here too, and it just really, it was kind of neat. She goes, I can't believe I talked for 2 hours. I said, well, I couldn't believe I didn't even have a word to say other than, what did you say again? What was that? So, yeah, it was pretty neat. But yeah, there's just a ton of history. And, I was telling Will today, I said, my wife, she has it in the family Bible and stuff of this property, of that place, so we can actually track it all the way back. But how much traffic came across that bridge, because there was only 2 that I know of, 2 bridges, and that was one of them way back when. And then there was another one at Hog Island, they call it Burned Out Bridge. And that one was more in the the late 1800s, early 1900s, I believe. And I actually know who has all the steel from that bridge that, actually fell into the river. Oh, that was the other thing, Craig. The guy he thinks that most of that bridge is underwater right there, and he actually wants to try to get it out of there. He wants to save it somehow. I don't know if it's even possible, but this is old steel rivet, that beat the rivets in the metal, that kind of building. Even the I-beam, you could tell was old school. It wasn't like, perfect or anything like that. It was, it's still up there. I have to get some better pictures of the palm tree. There's a palm tree in the way of it, and these cypress trees of all things. I can't really get a good shot of it. You can see it in the one photo I put up on Facebook, because I just put a little photo up there that says guess what, or whatever, what this photo is, and it's actually the picture of across the river, catty corner. You can see the pillars in the ground by the water's edge, but if you look over by the dock, about halfway up the dock where you start walking up the steps, there's an outline of a pillar, and that's where the pillar is right there, but you can't really see it because of the trees. I couldn't get a decent angle on it from out on the dock. So I was trying to step away from it a little bit. But, yeah, it's just going to be and there's so much acreage, Craig. I mean, I could hunt that place for 10 years and not hit every spot probably. But what kind of traffic came through there and what that house was and everything. Remember, her other, that grandmother is also the fortune teller out here. There's actually a road called Fortune Teller Road out where I live at, or it has a county road name now too, but they left the Fortune Teller Road on there, and that's over near Bevel's Corner and stuff like that. But that's the same same grandparent. So there's a lot of
jars of coins in the yard.
Oh yeah, brother. Yeah, I mean, I'm already on that path with it, because that's what they did back then. They didn't believe in these banks, and they had all this crazy money, gambling money, and everything. Not obviously. Her one grandfather was really into all that, I guess. But yeah, the thought of being able to find something like that'd be so cool to do that. But just looking for it's fun. But yeah, the guy told me come out and hunt it on Sundays. He's there, and he's kind of the caretaker is what I was thinking, caretaker of the property and everything. And yeah, I mean, shoot, you just couldn't hunt it all. I mean, there's just no way. And it actually goes on down the river too. You go through another gate and on down the river a little bit more, and he owns another big section through there. So I was thinking, there's one guy that comes out that's friends with him. He comes out every so often looking for arrowheads and stuff, because he finds a bunch of stuff out there. So, I mean, he's planning on tilling some of the fields or disking them to grow more hay for the cattle that he has, because it's all green belted in there. So I'm waiting for him to disc the field there that's right along the tree line. Maybe we'll find some more arrowheads. They found a lot of them through there, so hopefully maybe we'll find some of those too. So yeah, I mean, I got this freaking awesome place to hunt now. Now I just got to find the time to do it. I mean, I told Pauline today, I said, I'm slammed. I mean, I all day long I'm doing other stuff, and I want to go metal detecting, but life catches up. So hopefully this weekend I might be able to get out there and actually put a coil to the ground and do some. Maybe it won't rain on me again. That ticked me off the other day. I had a morning I could hunt, and well, it dumped rain so bad I wasn't going to mess with it. But yeah, the adventures just keep on going. If anything, with everything, it seems like you get those days where a simple process that's one step usually takes you 10. On a bad day, it takes me 20. So I've had a couple real bad days to try to fix something. I try to go pick up some material and stuff that brand new gallons of paint and everything this guy was getting rid of, and of course it rains like crazy. Everything's out in the garage and has to be brought to a trailer, so I ended up with like 27 5-gallon buckets of paint and sealer and roof coating in the rainstorm. Get halfway out of there, and the alternator goes out on a truck, so I'm over there changing an alternator in the middle of an O'Reilly's parking lot in a rainstorm, trying to get home. So yeah, I still got it, Craig. I can still do that kind of stuff. A little roll of duct tape, some chewing gum, and a couple toothpicks. I got it fixed. So, but it's nice having a early model pickup truck. That's one thing I like. You can work on them stupid things. And nowadays, you touch anything and the computer, shuts the engine down. It seems like so. But yeah, so I got that done. But I want to try to get out there and hunt some. I just want to crisscross, if anything, just pick a path and go and see what I find. I'm not going to hunt it real thorough yet. Just going to kind of get an idea. Obviously around the bridge and stuff where they come off the bridge, but I want to get out in that field too, just to see, because that stagecoach road went right from there, right directly down my property line eventually. So it's quite a distance for it. So yeah, we'll see. I have a pretty good feeling about it because it was built before the Civil War, so they probably used that bridge too. People had to get places, so maybe we'll luck out and maybe find some Civil War stuff. Where they were crisscrossing all around the state and this and that. We never really had any battles down here. Pretty much just a skirmish here or there, but maybe we'll find something cool.
I think they must have camped there early in the war. I know the Confederates did, but it wasn't, a whole lot of stuff going on, but they were there. There was Union people there.
Well, 20 miles from here.
I think there was a couple of ports or something down there. They wanted to make sure the Confederates didn't want to get to, use.
Well, the Withlacoochee flows north up through Lake Panasoffkee and everything. It eventually goes all the way up to Lake Swanee, which I know the Confederates were there because there's stories of the Confederates going up the river and the Union soldiers chasing them on the river, and the Confederate soldiers dumping off a barrel of coins or something like that, dumping a barrel off so that they wouldn't, the Union soldiers wouldn't get it. And that's it's maybe folklore. I don't know. I mean, that's what I've read, in these treasure stories and stuff like that from down here. So, there was activity. I mean, they used the rivers and stuff too, but it's probably the easiest way to travel down here in Florida anyways, is a river. It is so thick, the palmettos and everything. It'd be probably super hard to get through a lot of it, just walking through it, unless you stuck to the fields and the paddocks and stuff, away from the paddocks and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I mean, it's kind of neat. But I wanted to tell you about the drones. So I'm sitting there talking to Will, and we're sitting down having a drink, and he goes, yeah, those things, those son of a, well, I'm not going to say what he said, his son of a guns will say. He goes, I'm sitting here, and he has an old water trough, believe it or not, a round water trough, and he's an older fella, so his joints hurt and stuff like that. He goes, well, I'll fill that up. I got a hot water tank, and I fill that thing up, and I soak my legs in there and sit down and have a beer or whatever, and sit right there with my legs hanging in there, so it makes it feel better. He goes, I'm sitting there, and I kept on hearing this buzzing noise. And he goes, I couldn't figure out what, because there's nothing out there, in the middle of the night. And he said, I see this little blue light coming, just like a digital, whatever, LED light. And it's a drone. It had to have been like a Maverick or a Phantom. It was a big one, he said. And it flew in, and then another one come in. And they hovered right there. It was like they were trying to look in the windows of the cabin. And he goes, it was ridiculous, and I didn't know what to do, so I threw my glass at it. He had, he didn't get it obviously, and he goes, this is, they can't do that, can they? I said, well, they're not supposed to be going and looking in people's windows and stuff. I said, he goes, well, next time I see him, I'm going to shoot him. I'm just going to shoot that drone out of there. He goes, they're invading my privacy. I said, well, I have to say, in that case, they are. I said, I have a drone too, but I wouldn't fly it, 10 feet from somebody's window trying to look in it, That's bad taste anyways. I don't know what that deal was all about, but can you? Yeah,
that's definitely not allowed. I mean, you're
right.
not supposed to do stuff like that. And you're not, if you're 50 feet over somebody's house, that's not really invading their privacy.
No, I wouldn't have, he's saying.
But if you're down level with their windows and stuff, that's not good. You're not supposed to be doing that.
Right, and he said you couldn't see anybody.
Another thing you're not supposed to do is, if there's like the police or the firemen or anything, rescue people around, don't fly a drone. They might have a helicopter coming in or whatever.
Right, which makes sense.
They don't. Yeah, but basically you want to use common sense.
Right.
And most people don't do stuff like that. But
right.
There's over a million. There's over 1 million drones now in the United States. And it's growing like leaps and bounds. It's not going away. And I watch drone videos all the time because we both have Sparks. I haven't really gotten mine out yet because the last 3 weeks have been raining and windy and I don't want to lose the drone on the first flight.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But,
Well, he said these were big. They were bigger than probably a Phantom, and I'm thinking it was the. He said they look high dollar. They weren't the little bitty ones or anything. He said this thing was obviously bigger. And then another one came in. It looked almost just like it. He said it was different color. I think it was one was white, one was black. So I was thinking it was a Phantom 2 or something like that. It had to be something that could be flown pretty far. So
there's an Obsidian, but
yeah.
There's also
these weren't kids, in other words.
Inspire. The Inspires are like $6,000 to $9,000.
Well, he told me, he said that
they got 30 mega pixel cameras,
right?
And they shoot in 4K with 60 frames, I think, or 120 frames. It's crazy.
Do they shoot in? Do they have night vision on those things?
I don't think so. No.
That's what kind of threw me off quite a bit. But they had a blue
there was a drone
light
flying over us yesterday.
Yeah.
The same guy that's across the street. We hadn't seen him in a while, but it was a nice day, so he was out there. And
I don't care about that. Will told me. I said, to be honest, he said he's going to grab a shotgun and just shoot the thing next time. I said, don't shoot it, man. I said, I got a cast net. Just walk around there. If it's only 10 feet from your window, walk around the house and walk up behind it and throw the cast net on it. I said, I can replace props and stuff like that. I might have me a nice drone, the way I look at it, and I might inherit that. If you're going to fly it there, the way I look at it, why shoot it? I could use it. You don't know how to fly responsibly, don't fly at all. So, but yeah, I couldn't believe it. He said,
I saw a really funny one where this guy was, and this guy's a professional. He does, shoots for movie, for films and all kinds of Hollywood
cinematic stuff.
And he was way out in, this bay, and so there was this big yacht coming, by, and it was huge. It turned out it was this Russian oligarch, and the guy's like, worth 10 or 15, 20 billion dollars, and he has this boat that's like $1 billion. He's got like he's the only other person on except for servants. He's got about 300 people on this boat servicing him, doing all this stuff for him. But he said all of a sudden they lost control of the drone, and they saw this guy with some kind of, it looked like a rifle, and it had a boom on it, and like an antenna. And they basically knocked the drone down and captured it with a boat.
Good.
Drove out and captured it with a boat. But he ended up getting it back, and so that was pretty cool. But I was like, they thought he might be some kind of spy or something.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, you got to be careful where you're flying them at. I
looked the guy up, and the guy's been in all kinds of intrigue and stuff, over the years. He's so rich, he's pretty much unstoppable. But the guy, basically stays on this mega yacht. I mean, this thing is like, God, it's gigantic.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, I think you need to take as a helicopter on it.
It has probably like $100 million yacht or something like that.
Yeah. But he just basically lives on this yacht and just travels around the world and stuff all the time.
Hey, living a dream, buddy. Living a dream.
Must be pretty cool, yeah.
Yeah.
And shooting drones down.
Yeah, there you go. Well,
drones are controversial. The one good thing that I have been seeing from everybody on these YouTube channels is a Spark is like a professional drone that's not intrusive. People think it's a toy. It's not as noisy, and so it's not intimidating like these big ones are. And some of them look almost sinister, like these Inspires. They look like a giant spider coming through the air, black spider. The Phantoms are, kind of weird looking. They're squared off, white.
Right.
And, most of them are white, but they got one that's obsidian color. And then you got these Mavics.
Yeah, Mavic.
You got a Pro, a Platinum, and Air now.
I've yet to take mine up yet. It's been raining and everything else. I haven't even taken it out yet. I want to take it out to the field. I don't want a chance hitting anything with it. Those things. I mean, it's $500 or $600 or whatever. I don't want to crash it, and well, they give you extra parts and
same
stuff.
way.
Yeah, I'm going to get it out to a field where I can't hit anything and really get used to it.
Well, I saw the craziest thing the other day. A guy was flying one, and I saw him on Instagram. I was following all these different drone people, and so the guy started following me, and he said, "Oh, that's pretty cool." And he said, "You have one? I see you have one." And I said, "Yeah, I want to, use it, maybe to look for sights and stuff in the air." And,
right.
I've always wanted to have one anyway. They're fun.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And, so he said, "Yeah." He goes, so he had quite a, he's had all kinds of different drones and stuff.
Yeah.
But this one the other day that yesterday they went over. It was at least 400 feet up. I think 400 feet is the highest you can go.
Right. Yeah, it's 400 usually. That's what I've always heard.
Mm-hmm.
Even with the guy, he told me to bring my drone out there, and I told him, well, I got to get used to it yet. He wanted me to just shoot a video around his parcel right there, because I got, it's like a 1.5 mile range on those. I mean, I would never take it that far, but I mean, I told him I'll go above
1.2 miles.
Yeah.
I think.
And I got the
back.
Right. I don't feel obviously don't feel comfortable flying that far away, but I said I'll get some aerial photos of your place and everything. I told Will this, and he said the owner's really into history.
About which one to get. Because I could have gotten a Phantom for like $549. But,
right.
It wasn't. It was one of the older ones, but it was still pretty good. But the guy said, he said, you're not really supposed to go out of line of sight. And if you're some of these can go like 4 miles away.
Right, yeah.
And so, that's not really in line of sight at 4 miles, But at 1 mile, I don't even know, that's, I've watched this guy go like 6 blocks up the street and I could barely see him.
Right.
Because I know where he's, I
where
know about where he is, and from where he is, so I know it's up, kind of near 81.
Well, I had this friend of mine give me an iPad, whatever this deal they got. You buy a cell phone and they give you it's not an iPad, it's like an iPad, whatever. They give it free.
Yeah, it's a tablet.
Tablet, right. And, she came up to me, she goes, well, can you use this? She's not really into computers. And I'm like, can you use this? So if you give me $15 a month, that's what the subscription is for it or whatever, you can have it. I'm like, cool. So I got a tablet. I wanted one, but I just, couldn't afford one. And I said, I've been kind of getting ready, but I can mount that to the Spark controller because I got the big mount for it, because I have a big cell phone anyways. I have the ZTE from, it's a Android. It's a bigger one. So I bought the bigger mount. So now I can put the iPad thing on there and fly it looking at that. That'd be kind of cool. A big screen like that on there. So yeah, hopefully it'd be a little bit easier for me. So it gets first vision, whatever, it's like you're on the thing for the most part. Mm-hmm. And that way you can fly it a little farther. Yeah. So yeah, actually, he found out that I
control this one 3 different ways. You can do it with the phone. You can do it with the controller,
right,
which is the best way. And then
yeah,
they do it with hand gestures.
Yeah, they said don't. A lot of the guys are saying don't. You can use the phone to fly it, but if you lose signal, it's programmed to come back. But the thing is that it's scary. You lose signal with the Wi-Fi or whatever that is they were talking.
Yeah, it basically once it locks on GPS, if it starts losing the signal, it just it returns home.
Right.
Or you can push a button and make it return home.
Yeah, be my luck. That'd be the one thing that's broken on it. It'd be flying to Craig. But yeah, I got those photos from that place too.
Say 16 minutes. They say 16 minutes on this one, but from what I'm hearing, it's 10 to 12 minutes.
Yeah, I got a couple extra batteries.
You don't want to get down to where you don't have much juice left, and you still got a ways to go. So
right.
Usually you have 10 or 20% left by the time you land, but you want to be, make sure you're gonna.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Juice. I saw another funny one where the guy was flying up a creek, and it was really nice. The video that he did. But all of a sudden, it tried to avoid this branch, and it went up, and there was another branch in front of it that it couldn't really, see quick enough, and it hit it and went in the water.
Oh God!
And the thing went down two and a half, I think 2.5 feet down. So the guy knew about where it landed, so he ran up and you could see it down in the water. So he ended up, getting all wet, getting it out. And he took it home and he
packing
dried
rice
it with a hair. Well, he used rice, and then he used a hair dryer.
Yeah.
And then he charged it up, and it turned right on.
Awesome. He's lucky.
So these people call it the tank. They say it's the tiny tank. This thing is almost indestructible. This one guy says, I've had 7 major crashes, and every one of them I thought, oh my God, it's finished.
Yeah.
He said it didn't even break a prop or anything. I haven't had any. He said, this thing, it's small, so it doesn't have a lot of mass when it hits.
Right.
Like a big one does. But it's supposedly it's a really strong drone.
Well, I got that protective lower gear. It's usually the kiss of death with those, I guess, is if it falls right on the belly of it, it can mess things up. And they sell the package where it's a protective bottom that actually protects your gimbal camera on it too. If it crashes, there's a cover that fits over. I got that package with it, and so mine's like a little tank, anyways. Hopefully, I mean, because I'm not that bad with them, but I just, it's one of those, until you get used to it, you're just kind of paranoid about it. There's a learning curve to it, so I'll get out there and play with it and everything, try to figure it out a little bit. I just want to get some more. I'm not looking to fly 1,000,000 miles away with it or not. I just want to go like, maybe 100 foot above a property or something like that, and just kind of get an idea of what the property looks like, and, impressions in the ground and stuff. Sometimes you can see stuff from above that you don't see from the ground, where things were built or whatever. That's what I'm looking for more than anything else, just trying to use it for sight reading and stuff.
You're in your house and you hear a weird noise somewhere, and you just take the drone up real quick and look around from high, so you can see what's going on.
Send the drone out and send Loki out to anything on the ground. I told you about.
They got these ones now where you can drop things from the drone remotely.
Right.
And this one guy was dropping water balloons.
Oh, God. Oh, jeez. Watch out, they'll get them.
I don't think the Spark would pull a water balloon up in the air, though, but one of the bigger ones will.
Oh, yeah. This guy, I told Will, I said, I got pictures of that property, of that bridge when it was still built. It was a picture from 1961, and said it's the only photo I've ever been able to find. And Will's face lit up. He goes, "You got to bring that." I said, "First, I got to find it because I collect information. Like I went to the library over in Inchatata. It's closed now. It's been closed for 2 years, but I was in there looking around for kind of historical books on Inchatata, and I found this laying on top of the shelving unit. I found this. I don't know. It was like maybe a 50-page Xerox, whatever Xeroxed off. It was a packet, and I started looking through, and it was the history of Inchatata. And the only copy that I know of, I mean, it was made by a local lady years and years ago, and there was photos. That's where the photos of the old bridge when it was still up, and the riverboats that. There was like 2 or 3 photos of riverboats that were on. It's not the traditional like Mississippi River riverboat. It was more or less barges that barge-looking thing or whatever. But I got a couple photos, and they're real grainy and stuff. But it's still, it's the only record I've been able to find, and that's why when that news reporter or whatever was doing an article on it, and he had his, I don't know whether he just didn't do his research or he couldn't find what he needed on the internet because there's not a lot on the internet about it. But he had said that it was torn down before 1900, and I find photos of it still up in 1960. So I was like, back then I'm like, okay, well this is the only information I've been able to find, being myself at a local library or anything else. So this guy's Will said he's wanting all this information. I told him, hey, whatever I find, you can. I'm going to find tools and stuff like that there too, and you can just keep them or whatever you want to do with them. Said really the only thing I'm after is buttons and stuff like that. Of course, find some coins or something would be kind of cool. But most of it's probably going to be just like relics, from the past, and he can use them as decoration or whatever. This guy, inside there, they actually have it fixed up really nice. They put the new chimney in it. The outside of it's all stone now. They had it all redone, and he has these antler lights hanging from the ceiling. They're old. I mean, they're not recently bought. They've been there for a long time, but it's just like an old cracker shack, old cowboy cracker shack is what it looks like on the inside. It's really neat. But they're redoing the whole thing, putting a new roof on it. They had to jack the thing up and get it all leveled again because all the water from the pastures runs right down into the river, and of course it washed a couple of the blocks out, and so the house was leaning a little bit. So they've done a lot of work to it, but it's a really pretty area anyways. I told them I could live here and not have to deal with anybody anymore. Just do the radio show and metal detect the rest of my life. That's all I want to do. So, and fish. I'll fish too because Pauline likes to fish. But yeah, she just, she goes, well, by the way, I know about this and that and the other thing. And, this is, who had the property, and that's who had it since. And, she pulled the family Bible out. She goes, yeah, you can see where it changed hands here, 25 years ago. And then when they first got it, it was 18, oh gosh, I can't remember the exact date. I'll just save that. But I mean, yeah, it was a long time ago when they first acquired it. The family did, and then the other, the other part of the family, her other grandparents and stuff like that from the other side, the Seminole Indian and everything. It was just kind of neat the way the whole, the heritage part of it came into play. The different, attitudes, latitudes, and this and that and the other thing, all the dynamics of the family. I told her, I said, man, we really need to record that. If anything else, the guys on our show will like. I know Mark would like it because Mark's into the history, and he has that Facebook page called Adventures in History, and he has a lot of stuff on there like that. So, yeah, my wife has always she had a very colorful family and colorful life, so to speak. So. She's pretty neat. Most of you guys, well, I think some of you guys have talked to her. Craig has. I mean, she has a lot of neat ways of looking at stuff and added analogies, or Craig, what would you call them? She has a way of dealing with stuff. She's a force of nature when it comes to family and stuff like that. She really keeps track of everything and make sure the kids learn their family histories and stuff. I don't know, how many people really do that anymore with the kids, a history of the family. It used to be a big thing when we were growing up to do the family tree and to, know where you came from and stuff. I don't know, do they still do that, Craig? I don't hear a lot about that. I'm sure they do somewhat, but
yeah,
in the schools and stuff. But, history's not been they've kind of taken that out of school for the most part. I mean, they teach you a lot of dates and stuff like that. At least they were when I was growing up, but I don't think they actually have history classes now in high school, do they? Or grade school? I don't know. I've heard they've taken a lot of them out, or they teach you what they want to know.
You know what? I taught this Tennessee Russian boy that was really smart, and I ended up telling his parents, you ought to put him in private school because he's,
smart kid. Yeah.
The elementary school he's going to was terrible, and
mm-hmm.
They actually did, and he was a lot more happier, but he was a smart kid and was really, motivated. But,
mm-hmm.
He knew, he would tell me, they don't teach any history, it's social studies.
Right.
That's all they do.
And we had a political science, but that'd be
I used
taboo.
To do quizzes that I heard Obama had said that he'd been to 57 states and he had a few more to go to when he was campaigning one time, and I was like,
what?
So I started asking these kids at the camp. I said, how many states are there in the United States?
Yeah.
And I used to do these quizzes at lunch. I used to upset the kids because half of them didn't know what the answer was. But I said, how many states are in the United States? And I could see like all the private school kids knew, but the public school kids didn't. And
that's scary.
They didn't have any idea. And so this one kid goes, 50 states. So I said, you go to private school? And he goes, yeah.
Mm.
I said, yeah. I said, it's a shame they don't teach,
I've always been a firm believer in, the more, you can't if you don't know your past, you're going to make the same mistakes in the future. That you learn from your mistakes or learn from how to society in general. I don't know why we got away from that. We're doomed to make some of the same mistakes we made way back when. So, oh, there goes my beautiful wife. By the way, Bill Marsh is saying that you need to do a show.
Hey.
Yep. So she just walked in. We might have her doing Saturday night show. I think she might like that. She's been so busy running back and forth. She just got back from doing the shopping for helping one of the other bartenders out, getting the stuff for the VFW for their dinner tomorrow night and everything. So she's doing I had to go to Sam's and all. That's an adventure. I don't think I'll ever go back to Sam's if I can help it. I'm so tired of. They changed their whole floor plan around. A normal time we go in there usually takes maybe an hour to get everything together. It took us 2.5 hours one time. Last month. I'm like, nah, I'm not going back. They moved the whole store around, made no sense at all. Just to get you to shop more is what it amounts to. But when you're talking about an area that big, it's a pain. So her and Rhonda hit it today and did all their little shopping, and hopefully we'll eat good tomorrow night. Got everything? Yep, she has her thumbs up. She got everything. So, yeah, I do the DJing and stuff up there on Friday night. I got everybody coming up, and they have a dinner and everything. And on the weekends we do stuff too, because we're right down the street from the National Cemetery, so we got a lot of weekend traffic and people coming and visiting and stuff like that. So, but yeah, we'll get her to do a show. Maybe we'll get her to do Saturday night show. You and her, Craig. I might be in the sidelines. I'll sit there and play on chat. I don't get to do that enough. But I see Bob D's on tonight, and Mark Hoover, I saw him earlier, and Bill Marsh, Ohio Relic Hunter's on. Past Pursuits is on, Greg. Is that Greg Pompano, right, Craig? Past Pursuits? Or is that a different Greg?
I don't know.
Okay.
He said we ought to do a hardcore drone radio.
There you go. We can try to do that, too.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. But Robert Walgass is on tonight. And I saw a few more on here. It was the Three Musketeers for a little while there. Somebody else mentioned too. Yeah, there's another show going on at the same time, but it's all good. Listen to it on the replay or whatever, and vice versa. I download it or whatever like that. I don't know why that got set up like that, but it is what it is, right? So, I'll shoot. Let's see, get my. I was trying to read chat. Sorry, guys, I can't do two things at once. Talk about beef jerky or something like that. Yeah, but anyway.
55-gallon drum of it.
Yeah, she loves. Well, our dogs, I don't want to say the word, but we can get him to sing and talk and everything else like that. And she gives him a little piece of that beef jerky. And I tell you what, that dog is just the happiest. Loki's just happy as heck, man. And he pretty much swallows it. I don't know why he gets so much of a thrill out of it, but.
Dogs don't chew; they inhale.
Yeah, he's funny. he grabs. Well, our little dog taught him this. He picks up one piece of dog food, brings it into the living room, sets it down, looks at us, and eats it. Then goes back and gets another one. I think it's his weight control system. So he gets aerobic exercises, while he eats, and he doesn't gain weight. Something, I don't know. He's like a rock, anyways. So. Yeah, the neighbors come over today, and they waiting at the gate, and I heard a horn blow, and we're not coming in your yard. He looks like he's hungry. I said, he's all right. So he just has a really deep bark, growl, or whatever, and kind of intimidates people. But he is 100 pounds almost, so I guess he's a wall. But oh shoot, but. Swallows whole hot dogs as fast as you can throw. Oh, Bill Marsh, his dog swallows whole hot dogs as fast as you throw them at him. So, but yeah, shoot it. Craig, I don't know what I'm going to get out of. I'm going to try to get out this weekend. I really want you to say the heck with everything for a while and just go out metal detecting. Oof, driving me nuts. At least you're getting out in your yard. I still got. I'm trying to get that test garden the rest of the way done, and with this rain and everything, it's just been so dry, and then it's soupy now. The ground is, which we needed it, but mowing twice.
The other day I was digging in the the shovel, every time I put the shovel in the ground, pull it up, it'd just be caked with mud. Hard to get it off.
Yeah, we haven't had that bad. But we need it though. I mean, we needed it for a while. But are you wore
We had
out?
so much rain, it was like 2 inches of water laying sitting on the ground.
Right.
And that's how much water was in the ground. Incredible.
Yeah, I saw on the I think it's this West Central Florida Arrowhead, maybe it's Artifact. Oh, doggone! I just became a member of that or a group or whatever. But they were out. A lot of the guys down here in Florida were out looking for arrowheads, and they had a bunch of photos and little videos and stuff like that. They did real good this past week because with all that rain, they go out there and they can see the reflection a little bit easier, spot them a little bit easier, washes that dirt off the top of them and stuff. And yeah, they found a lot of different arrowheads. I put that hand axe. I still say it's a hand axe up on there. And there's another guy that posted one up and he said, well, I found this one, and I think it is a hand axe too, and it has a basic shape, where the punch is on mine and the cutting side and everything. It looks kind of the same, but then we got told that they're not hand axes; they're just a shard that they knocked off. But it just has too much detail on it to me. But I guess it's whoever found it could say what it is, right? It's a really cool rock. So, but I might make a video with that. I know that thing will hack through some wood. I mean, no problem. I think I may try to make a video like that, see what I can make with that thing, because it just has so many different cutting edges on it. And for it to look the same as some of them that I've seen online, they all have the same kind of shape to it, and it's like a multi-tool. You can grab it in different ways and scrape and everything else. I put a video up about it, or a slideshow video about it a while back. But yeah, I mean, I saw that Sumter County, or those rock boulders or whatever, everywhere out there by the river. I know there's got to be a bunch of shards there and stuff, because the Indians would hang out by the water, where the water was within reason. They'd be pretty close to it. So, where'd you get that at? Same. Oh, my wife got a new top from somebody. I can multitask: chat, the radio show, and my wife's clothing. There you go. So. But yeah, we've been having a lot of fun, but we've just been busy. It just never stops, it seems like. And she's wore out, I can tell now. She's going to sit down and pass out here in a minute. So, goodness, trying to get her out there metal detecting, but we can't get our schedules the same. So I told her I'm going to take off without her if she doesn't go. I got one of her family sites now. She's not real impressed with that right now either. Oh, shoot. I can still take it away from you. Yeah, my wife said she could still take it away from me. I didn't know if you heard her or not, Craig.
Yeah,
she'll make up phone calls. Well, I mean, this is the kind of places that she hunts all the time. I didn't know what I was getting into, so she kind of forgave me for that. But I really had no idea. We'll get her on the show. Maybe she'll talk about it some. Are you free on Saturday night? She does believe, so we may have Pauline hosting the show on Saturday night. It's always an adventure. You never know which direction it's going to go with when she's on there. So, I don't let her do very many because I know you guys like her better than me. So, oh shoot! But Craig, you're going to be getting out more and more. I think the weather's supposed to clear up quite a bit, isn't it? Or are you still?
Yeah, but the trouble is from what I'm hearing, that I haven't been in the woods, but everybody's saying that ticks are really bad and that everything's overgrown and stuff. And we got a lot of fields around here, and most of them are pretty high right now.
Right.
But there's not a lot of farms. It's more like, it's more like grazing land instead of farming land.
Right. Yeah, I'm probably going to have to start carrying a little bit out there because I'm sure right along that river, those doggone snakes freak me out. Those water moccasins I'm not scared of snakes by any means, but walking down the road in those palmettos and stuff, and there's just that's one thing. There's nothing else around there. that's a big, big piece of parcel with no other activity at all on it. So, except for the cows, they got a lot of Brahma cows out there and stuff like that. But
they're not going to get
Yep.
you mouth to mouth if you fall.
but yeah, if I fall over, I have to carry my cell phone with me in case I fall over. That's what she's telling me. But yeah, he's having a problem with the hogs, the coyotes. He goes, I don't care if you come over here and shoot some of these hogs. You just got to take them out of here. I don't want to let them lay in. I said, well, heck, we might have to get a couple of people together and just take out a whole bunch of them, and that way everybody has meat for the rest of the year. Ground pork, whatever. But they have a big problem with them, and they just rip up. I mean, they're just like rototillers, man. They go through your yard. They will just root up everything they can. They are, and when you get a big group of them, I don't mind. You get like 10 or 20. It's not so bad. But when you have 60 to 80 of them, and those are the big ones. And I'm not counting all the babies. And they throw a litter, every 3 months, Pauline? 3 or 4 months they throw a litter so they can multiply like rats almost. I worry about my dog more than anything else because they're still pretty bad. I thought they'd make their way out of here by now, but they found a feeding frenzy with these big fields. They're looking for grubs and everything else. And now the coyotes are coming in pretty heavy, and these are not the same coyotes that we've had around here. Well, I'm sure they're part of the group, but now we find them standing in the road and stuff like that. Now these new ones are getting very curious and very not aggressive yet, but coyotes usually stay away from people. You know what I mean, Craig? And these ones are coming up in people's driveways and stuff. So now it's turning into it could, not necessarily. I don't really want to do anything about it, but hey, you got to protect your own. These things are. I actually worry more about Loki than anything else because if they ever did get into the yard, they're going to pack up on him. That's the only thing I'd worry about more than anything else because he's not going to back down. So, what's that, Pauline?
That's what C4.
Yeah, that's what C4 is for. That's what Pauline's saying. They get my dog, I'll blow them up. So, gosh. But, so we have the wildlife, they just built so much around in town and stuff, and now everything's coming out this way. They don't have anywhere to go, so now we're going to deal with the aftermath of them losing their environment, even in this, small scale that we are, it was enough to disturb them. So, yeah. So, but anyways, probably going to wrap up the show for tonight, Craig. She just got home and she brought groceries and stuff too, so I want to help her get those put up, and we'll have her on the show on Saturday night. Maybe if she's putting her thumbs up, guys, she's ready to go. So,
Cool.
Yeah. We'll see what she decides she wants her topic to be, or she might just do open lines. We never know with Pauline.
Somebody better call in.
Yep, she says you have to call in if she's doing a show. So, guys, write down that phone number: 352-504-4170. All right, guys. But we'll wrap it up for the night. And, be sure to like and follow the other shows and, download if you didn't get to, watch the other show, just, download it and you have it for tomorrow on the way to work or what have you, vice versa. And, check out the Facebook pages and, oh, God, I can't even talk now. I'm getting flabbergasted now. The YouTube channels, that's other stuff. Anyways, we're on every Thursday night and Saturday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll have Pauline on Saturday. Guys, thanks for listening. Thanks for liking the show, and tell a friend. We'll catch you later. Get out there, keep digging, and God bless.